I am thirsty. Mickey Mouse Cup. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about today's video. I am bringing you a Disney planning Q&A. I'm answering all your questions about putting together a trip to Disney World or Disneyland. I did a call out on Instagram. I asked you guys what you would like me to answer for this video, and a bunch of you wrote in with some really good questions. Actually, some of this really provoked some ideas for future videos. Some of the topics I'm going to cover today really deserve full videos all on their own, but I'm going to give you my answers. We're going to talk about things like food, resorts, what time of year to visit, traveling with little ones, fast passes. We could do a whole encyclopedia on fast passes, so I'm going to dive right in. I have my phone here, so that's why I'm going to be looking down a little bit. The Disney housewife, she asked me, what time of year do you prefer to visit Walt Disney World? And this I definitely have an answer for. 9 times out of 10, I am going when there are lower crowds. That is definitely how I plan my trips. Now, this isn't as true as it used to be. In years past, you could really pick out low crowd times of the year. These days, Disney has really figured out how to make sure that they have attendance in the parks, so you don't get non-existent crowds the way you could in years past. However, there are still some really low crowd times. I will preface this by saying I go most often to Walt Disney World in Florida. I'm an annual pass holder. I go about 3 times a year, so I definitely have a lot of experience with those parks. I have been to Disneyland a few times. So when I talk about crowd attendance, I'm talking about Disney World. And for me, I like to go January, February, or September, October. Historically, those are pretty low crowd times. It's also a really nice time of year to visit. In January, February, it's not so hot. And in September, October, there's always the Halloween events going on. My favorite ticketed event at Disney World is hands down Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I go whenever I have the opportunity. Absolutely love it. If you've never tried it, I encourage you to give it a try. Also, the Halloween and fall decorations are just beautiful around the parks that time of year. I also typically sneak in a visit in the spring, so like April, May, and that's really when I like to go. And this year, that's how it worked out. I went the last week of February, I'm going in May very soon, and I'm going in September, and that's really a pattern for me. So really great times to consider if you're planning a trip. Just Out and About asked me, what's your favorite resort and park at Walt Disney World? Just Out and About, they have a channel here on YouTube. They do, I think, generic theme park videos, and also specifically they do Disney World videos, so I'm really happy they wrote in. So this is a 2-part question, favorite resort and favorite park. I'm going to answer park first because that has a clear answer. My absolute favorite theme park in any of the Disney World resorts is the Magic Kingdom. I mean, nothing else even comes close. It doesn't matter what amazing new rides and lands they might add to other parks. Nothing's going to touch Magic Kingdom for me. When I visit, I'm not really going for the most tech advanced ride or for the thrill rides or like what's new. I'm going for that sense of nostalgia. There is just like a peace that comes over me when I am at the Magic Kingdom, specifically Main Street and Fantasyland. They just put me in a perfect little place in my mind, and I'm absolutely in my happy place. It does for me what I imagine yoga does for other people. Really, that's how I feel about it. And what's your favorite resort? This is really hard to answer because it depends. That's the real answer. When I am booking a resort stay at Disney World, and I'll say I absolutely prefer to stay on site at Disney World. You know, you get a bunch of benefits from staying on site anyway, and then also I just love the experience of checking myself into the bubble. Like I just said, it's like therapy, right? It's like doing yoga. I get all peaceful, I check myself into the bubble, and I don't like to leave. So I absolutely love staying on site, and I typically pick my resort based on whatever I'm doing for that trip or whatever the purpose or goal for that trip is. So for example, if I am going to do food and wine, I'm going to want to be close to Epcot. I love staying at the resorts on, I think it's called Crescent Lake. There's this area at the back of Epcot where there are 5 different resorts. There's Yacht and Beach Club. Those are 2 different, but they're kind of connected. There's the Boardwalk, and then there's Swan and Dolphin. So that's one of my favorite areas to stay in. You can walk to Epcot. The entrance is into World Showcase. You enter like I said, behind Epcot. So you enter right into World Showcase if you're there for food and wine. You can walk to Disney Hollywood Studios. You've got access to all the dining and shopping right there around the lake. With all the hotels, they all have their own specific restaurants that are really awesome. So that's probably my favorite area to stay. And of those hotels, I think my favorite is probably Yacht and Beach Club. I love the pool, and I don't really have a preference between Yacht and Beach. I like them both equally, but I love the boardwalk. I mean, any of them are perfect, aren't they? I also, if I'm staying moderate, my favorite moderate is Port Orleans. And again, I don't have a preference between Riverside and French Quarter. The name was escaping me for a minute. I love Port Orleans. But yeah, if I'm going like for 2 nights for like with just my girlfriends and we're not going to be in the room much, I'm going to stay value. It just really depends what I'm doing, why I'm there for that trip. So I got 2 different people who asked me sort of the same question, so I'm going to combine this. My Jewish Mommy Life asked me, what are the best attractions for kids under 2 and tips for going with a baby? And then Kat Nodato, I think Nodato is her last name. Kat Nodato asked me pro tips for bringing young toddlers. And this is a perfect question for me right now because I have a 2-year-old. She's about 2.5. And I've taken her to Disney World a bunch. I took her for her first trip. She was 7 months old. So I've definitely got that experience now of going with a baby, going with a toddler. And there are definitely some things that make it easier when you're traveling with children that age. This is a topic that I think would be really perfect for a full-length video. I could talk at length about this. I won't talk at length about it now because I don't want this video to be 45 minutes long, but let me know in the comments below if you would like a longer video really delving into this. But just in brief, I would say, so my Jewish Mommy Life, her first part question was, what are the best attractions for kids under 2? And a lot spring to mind. I actually know that she's planning her trip to Disneyland. And so the Disneyland theme park, the Magic Kingdom theme park in Walt Disney World, both of those theme parks are going to have a ton of stuff for toddler age children. I mean, each of the parks is going to have stuff for that age. They're catering to families, but specifically those 2, Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. And then to that end, I would say anything in Fantasyland, you're going to get a ton of attractions that a 2-year-old is going to enjoy. Specifically, I'm thinking Small World, which you can find at Disneyland and Disney World. Small World is a ride that my daughter has really loved since she was a baby, and a lot of people think, oh, you can't really take a baby to Disney World, they're not gonna get it. No, obviously they're not gonna get it. They don't know the concept of a ride or Mickey Mouse, but they are very into sensory experiences at that age, and a lot of these rides appeal to those senses. So Small World is wonderful because the 2-year-old's gonna love it. What's not to love, right, when you're 2? And the babies can really enjoy that ride. They're going to enjoy the motion of the boat. It's very gentle. They're starting to really be able to tell colors, right? So they're going to love all those bright colors. They're going to like the music. And it's also sort of a little bit longer. Some of the Fantasyland rides are shorter, but Small World is a bit more substantial. So it's nice to get, again, that bang for your buck. You've waited in line, now you're getting on a lengthier little boat ride. It's not too long, the baby can handle it. And then I'm also thinking Spinners. That's your Dumbo style rides. Toddlers love those, and the babies love the spinner rides. Don't go for anything too crazy. The Astro Orbiter will be a bit much for the younger kids, but like Dumbo, Aladdin's Flying Carpets, those spinner rides, the toddlers and the babies really love them. There's music, they feel the wind, fun for the whole family. And then just tips in general on traveling with young children. I would say take it easy. Don't plan too much for yourself. Go at your family's pace. When I'm traveling with my daughter to Disney World, I pick just a few things a day. I assume we're not going to ride many rides, and that works for us. You know, don't put too much pressure on yourself. I would say that book yourself some meals, some sit-down meals, so you guys all get a break and you can sit down and have something to eat. Bonus points if you book yourself a meal that the little ones are going to really enjoy. Character meals are great at this age because they get to have that interaction with a character. If your 2-year-old's like mine, he loves Mickey Mouse, and you don't have to wait in a line to get that picture or that autograph. You're getting some food in your stomachs. Everybody's getting off their feet. I would also say try to see the afternoon parade. Babies and toddlers are going to love the afternoon parade. Again, it's colorful, there's music, you get to see the characters, but they're not right in your face, so it's not intimidating. If you do the afternoon parade, I would say plan to go back to your resort and take like a nap, relax. And if you didn't know this, all of the Disney parks, they have a baby center. It's going to be its own building that you can go to any time of the day, and you can do whatever you need to do to take care of your little ones. They're going to have private areas where you can nurse, quiet, comfortable chairs where you can bottle feed. They have really nice clean changing tables so everybody can get a fresh diaper, and they understand that if you have a baby, there's likely an older sibling, so there's going to be a space for your older son to watch cartoons and maybe color. And if you have missed out on anything that you need, they're going to have it. They'll have diapers, they'll have wipes, they'll have formula, they'll have milk. If you don't know where these centers are, again, they're in each of the different theme parks. Look on your guide map and it will tell you, and any cast member can tell you where they are. So definitely take advantage of those if you're traveling with little ones. And then, like I said, just go at their pace. You know, don't expect that you're going to get it all done. And anybody who tells you that Disney World is lost on younger children, they're lying to you. The kids are going to love it, and you're going to love watching it through their eyes. That's the best part. So let me know if I answered your question. If you've got any other questions about traveling with toddlers, babies, let me know in the comments. And like I said, I'd be happy to do a full-length video on this one. One Life to the Fullest, she asked me, definitely budgeting. How do you make it so that you don't break the bank? Again, this could be an entire novel, couldn't it? I mean, a Disney vacation is definitely pricey. There's no way around that. It is an expensive experience. So you have to decide if it's worth it to your family to put the money toward that, because there are a lot cheaper ways to get a fun, meaningful family vacation. But if you really do want to do Disney and you want to figure out how to do it on a budget, there are definitely some tricks to it. I mentioned earlier value resorts. Disney World has sort of like tiered pricing for different resorts, and they have a whole level of value resorts that you can get pretty reasonable hotel rooms, and your hotel lodgings can quickly add up and be one of your most expensive aspects to a Disney trip. The value resorts, so there's Pop, Art of Animation, All-Star Sports, All-Star Music, All-Star Movies, and you can find rooms in there like under $150 a night. This woman specifically who asked this question, I happen to know that she has 6 children. So if you're traveling to Disney World, you are going to need accommodations for a larger family. So if that is the case, I would look at some of these value resorts have family style suites that are still on the more affordable side, but they give you more room. All-Star Music, I'm pretty sure it's All-Star Music that has the family suites, and Art of Animation has family suites. The Art of Animation family suites fill up very quickly. So if that's what you're going for, I would definitely plan in advance. That being said, if you have a larger family and you're trying to cut down on the costs, I would say look at staying off-site. That's something I would hardly ever say. I would almost always recommend staying on site. You get a lot of benefits, but if you really need more space, your dollar is going to go farther off-site. Get yourself like a townhouse for the week, something like that. When it comes to tickets are very, very pricey. Exponentially your cost goes down as you add trips to your stay. That sounds a little counterintuitive, but a 3-day ticket is going to cost you something like $110 a day per person, whereas like an 8-day ticket, it's going to go down in price so that you're starting to pay something more like $70 or $80 a day. Again, that is a lot of money. So I would look at, if you have a larger family or you got to get tickets for all the kids, maybe go 1 or 2 days and then do something else in Orlando. Or I would also keep in mind, children under 3, they are free. So if you have one child who's 4 and one who's 2, try to sneak in that visit right before the other child turns 3. There's a lot of other ways to cut down on costs. For example, bringing in your own snacks and your own water, that's a great saver. I would also mention for lodgings, there are 2 ways that I typically sometimes get some really much more affordable rooms. One is you can rent DVC points. If you don't know, DVC is the Disney Vacation Club. It's sort of Disney's equivalent of a timeshare, and what happens, someone is a DVC owner and they're not going to visit that year. They have these points to use, and so they will sell them to people, and you can buy their points, and it's a very simple process. The website I use when I do this It's called dvcrequest.com. I'll link it below. This is not affiliated or sponsored by them at all, but they are definitely a trustworthy company. You can go to their site, you can plug in the dates you're looking for, and they can help you get these points. So let's say I did this and I wanted to stay at Boardwalk. The room might cost $350 a night out of pocket. It's a deluxe resort, so it's one of the pricier resorts. So it might be $350 if I was just paying directly to Disney, but by going through DVC Request, I might pay something closer to $150, and it's the same room, same lodgings, but really a much better price. The only thing to remember is if you're doing DVC renting the points, you're not getting housekeeping every day. For some reason, they don't do housekeeping every day when you're staying as a DVC guest, but it's a small price to pay, I think. They'll bring you clean sheets and towels and everything. And then also, if you are a Marriott Rewards member, which I am, you can use your points and you can stay at the Swan and Dolphin for free if you have enough points. I've gotten free rooms at the Swan and Dolphin before. As I mentioned earlier, that's one of the resorts on Crescent Lake. You can walk to Epcot, you can walk to Hollywood Studios. Swan and Dolphin is not technically a Disney-owned resort, but it is on Disney property, and you get all of the same benefits as the other Disney World guests staying on site. You still get extra magic hours, you still get to make your fast passes 60 days in advance. You can still, I believe you can still use the Magical Express. I'll have to take a drink here. I'll have to look into that, but you still get all the same benefits. Really, really great option if you are a Marriott Rewards member. Okay, so moving on, Queen Ursula UK wrote, what's your favorite Disney snack? And this is another one that feels almost impossible to answer. I mean, there are so many variables. What time of year is it? Is it hot? Is it raining? What park am I in? Are we talking sweet or savory? I mean, I don't know. I love Disney food. Disney food, snacks, dining, it's a big part of the Disney experience for me. I read up in advance to see what new food has come out. I make my lists of the foods I want to eat while I'm there. I guess the best way to answer this would be to say I like any Disney food or snack that is quintessentially Disney. Anything that I can only get at Disney World that makes me know I am home, I am here. To that end, I eat a lot of like the cult favorites. If you're part of the Disney community, if you read up on this kind of stuff online, you know there are like favorite ride or die snacks that Disney fans like to have, and I'm talking things like the Dole Whip, school bread in Norway. I like to eat those kinds of things. They're not even necessarily foods that I would eat outside the park. Sorry, my memory card was full. I had to make some space. So I was talking about my favorite foods, and yeah, anything that is like you are at Disney World. I'm not a sweet person too much, but like I love Mickey shaped ice cream. I really love those Mickey shaped pretzels that have the jalapeno cheese inside of them. I think those are the kind of thing you either love it or you hate it. I love it. I seek them out in the parks. Animal Kingdom is doing really interesting snack foods. I love anything they're selling at Golden Oak Outpost, which is in the Magic Kingdom. I remember back in the day, like 20 years ago, when they sold McDonald's french fries at that cart. It's still typically a french fry that they're selling, usually with stuff on top. I always stop there. Yeah, and I also really love Disney World cupcakes. I love how whimsical and fanciful they are. I love seeing what new cupcakes they have out. Like I said, I'm not a huge sweet person, but Disney does their cupcakes right. The Butterfinger cupcake is back at Hollywood Studios. Great stuff to check out. And then She Wolf Mom 2 asked me, I've never understood the Fast Pass concept. Can you explain that, please? That is a heavy question. I think more than anything that anybody else has asked me in this video, that is the one that probably needs the most time to go over. I'm going to take you just at what you said, and you said that you are kind of confused by the concept. So I can quickly explain to you the concept, and then if there is let me know in the comments and I will happily do a longer Fast Pass video. There are differences between the Fast Passes in Disney World and in Disneyland. If you're at Disney World, there's differences in the Fast Passes based on what park you're going to. The basic concept is it's a virtual queue. So it holds your place in line. Some of the more popular attractions, they can have waits upwards of 3 hours. If you're going at a busy time and you're trying to get on Flight of Passage, those are going to be lengthy lines. I won't get a text. So this actually, it holds your place. You are given a time to show up. You're giving a 1 hour window, and you show up during that window, and then you have your own separate line. You go straight to the front of it. It's not no wait, but if the line for the ride was standby 2 hours, you're going to wait about 10 to 15 minutes. So it's much better. It's in Disney's best interest to have figured this out. So you can go, you're shopping, you're eating, you're doing other things. You're not just standing in line. The way that you do this typically is you make your FastPass reservation in advance. So you would make a My Disney Experience account. You can do that by downloading the app. It's a free app to download. You can get it on Android and an iPhone, and you have to you make a very basic profile for yourself. You don't have to give too much information. You can also make it through the Disney World website, this account, but you need a My Disney Experience account to make a reservation for a FastPass in advance. Once you have that, the other thing you have to make an advance FastPass is you have to have already purchased your tickets. So you link your ticket to your My Disney Experience account, and then you can make your advance FastPass reservations. If you are staying at a Disney World hotel, you can make these reservations 60 days in advance. If you are not staying at a Disney hotel, you can make them 30 days in advance. And then there's some, if you're staying on a Disney hotel, you can make them 60 days in advance for the length of your stay. Whereas if you're not staying at a Disney hotel, you make them 30 days in advance each day of the trip. So again, I could get into that in greater detail in a longer video. Once you make your tickets linked to your account, you can do 3 FastPasses a day if you're making them in advance. There's different rules based on what park you're at, which ones you can get FastPasses for. Once you've used your 3, you can make a 4th, 5th, 6th FastPass that day. Once you've actually used them, you can keep adding. If you don't want to make FastPass reservations in advance, you can make them day of in the park at a kiosk. They'll have them throughout the park. A cast member can help you. If you're trying to get some of the harder rides on FastPass, you need to make them as soon as possible. There are certain rides that even if you're at the 60-day mark, you're going to have a hard time getting a FastPass for. Right now, that would be Flight of Passage and Slinky Dog Dash. Like I said, there's different rules if you're staying at Disneyland. Disneyland is still on the paper FastPass system. It's a whole other animal. So yeah, I mean, that's the basic concept. And then you're given a 1 hour time. It'll say show up between 12 and 1 p.m. to ride Peter Pan. You show up at that time. You have your own separate entrance to the ride. You go on. It is free to use. I think that's something that if people aren't familiar with this topic, they might not know that. It is absolutely free. It behooves you to use this system. FastPass has changed in an extraordinary way the way my family does Disney. It is so much more relaxing now. Some people would disagree with that statement. I think it bothers some people to have to do this much planning in advance. It does not bother me. I've said this before and I mean it. Planning a Disney trip is as enjoyable for me as actually being on the Disney trip. I absolutely love it. But it really makes things a lot easier. So if you've never used a FastPass before and you're going, I really encourage you to do some research, try to educate yourself on it a little bit, because it is a game changer. It saves so much time. It is so much nicer to be sitting indoors in the air conditioned eating an ice cream sundae than it is to be waiting in that 2-hour Peter Pan line. It's so much easier on the kids, not having to wait in these lines. And like I said, I would love to do a full-length video on FastPass. I consider myself to be something of a FastPass professional. I'm really good at the system. I've really learned how to use it to its best effect, how to get those most sought after FastPasses, how to get new ones as I use them up. There is something called the refresh strategy. If you don't know about refresh and you're going to Disney World, you need to know about it. You don't have to wait in lines anymore with this. Really, you don't. And some people, I think they sort of check, they say, oh, they don't have what I want, and they move on. But it turns up, just put your nose to the grindstone and you will be able to get what you want. I'd be happy to talk about this more. Let me know in the comments, but I hope I sort of explained what the concept is. It helps you not wait in lines, and it is free. You should absolutely be using it if you are going to Disney World or Disneyland. So let me know what you guys thought of this video. This is my first Q&A style video. This was really fun. I love anything where I'm sort of interacting with you guys. I'll put a link below to my Instagram if you guys want to follow me. I love seeing what you all are up to, talking to you, getting ideas for these videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it so I know to do more videos like this. Disney World is something that I really enjoy talking about. So I'm really thankful that you joined me for this one, and hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. I do really simple projects. I do hauls. I'm at the Dollar Tree all the time. Fun videos here. You don't want to miss out, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining me.